Om Namo Lohe Sarvatrikavarti Ariyantanam. Om Namo Lohe Sarvatrikavarti Siddhanam. Om Namo Lohe Sarvatrikavarti Ariyanam. Om Namo Lohe Sarvatrikavarti Vajjanam. Om Namo Lohe Sarvatrikavarti Savanam. Omkaram Bindu Sanyuktam Nityam Dhayanti Yoginam Kamadam Mokshadam Cheva Omkaraya Namo Namah. Namo Samay Saraya Swanubhutya Chakasate Chitsabhavaya Bhavaya Sarva Bhavantarachide Ajnanatimirandanam Jnana Anjana Salakaya Chaksurundritam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. Tirtham Karo Jagatana Javanta Varto Omkaranada Jinano Javanta Varto Jinana Samo Sarana Saujavanta Varto Netirthachara Jagama Javanta Varto Namo Tirthanayakane Namo Omkara Nadane Omkara Sangaryotene Namo Te Sri Kunda Kundane Aho Upakara Jinavarano Kunda no Dvani Divyano Jina Kunda Dvani Apya Aho Te Guru Kanano Aho Te Bhagavati Matano Dhruva Achalane Anupama Gati Pamela Sarve Siddhane Vandi Kaho Sutta Kevali Bhasita Asamaya Prabhrata Are Om Ekasudha Sada Arupi Jnana Darasanamaya Kare Kai Anyate Maru Jari Paramamatra Nathi Are Jamane Trate Majagyan Natikara Kanati Vedak Are Jane Jakara Modaya Nirajara Bandate Majamoksane Om Namah Siddhebhyo Om Namah Siddhebhyo Om Sri Suddhatmane Namaha. Jai Jinendra. Today is November 29, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Arizona time, and here we are meeting again. We had about a 1 month break almost while I was in India, and I had very good time with Shibir at Mangalayatan. We did the Shibir on Karta Karma Adhikar on Samesar. It was an amazing Shibir that we start about 5:30 morning every day lecture. And it will go all the way up to 9:30, almost 10 o'clock night. And only in between 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, almost 1 hour each, otherwise non-stop swadhyaya and everything. So it was really amazing thing. And there are great speakers were there, and I learned a lot from those people, So those are the things that I learned there. And here we are on a basic Jainism. And we have talked about basic Jainism, and we have talked about universe and substance. So Jain Siddhant Praveshika is a book that we have it available in English translation also. That Jain Siddhant Praveshika book has a question answer sessions, in the question answer form. What is universe? There is 1 line answer. What's a substance? 1 line answer. Well, those are only 1 line answers or short answers, but they need to be expanded a lot. That's what we are doing right now, is going through detail. So we did substance, and we just went through all the 6 universal substances: living, matter, medium of motion, medium of rest, space, and time. So 6 universal substances we talked about in great detail. And actually, if we understand that part very well, then remember we are already covering one scripture. What is the scripture? It's a Panchastika scripture. Panchastika scripture, that means we almost covered close to 70 stanzas of Panchastika, So those are the things that is important. And these are the basic things, basic building thing that once we know more and more about it, then when we are talking about Samaisar and all those higher scripture, then we understand them better because our base becomes strong. Having said that, we have finished the substance. Now we are going to go to the attribute. First substance, then attribute, then we'll come to modes. Substance, attribute, mode, that will give the whole structure of the soul. And then we'll go to the functional part of the soul, that how all those things are working in the soul also. So we are just going to go for the slides. So I'm going to share the screen. And I have to go to... Attributes. One second, I'm just bringing that thing up. Can you see the slides? Somebody, can you tell me yes or no?
I can see the slides.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so
Kiritanko, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Went through what we're going to be almost like a syllabus of what our future plans are. If sometime after that or interwoven, can you include the 5 bhavs?
Yeah, 5 bhav will come once we, I think once we are done with the substance, attribute, modes. When we come to the mode section, we'll have bhav will be coming there,
Okay. All right, good. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so slideshow, play from start. Okay, so here we are. So Primer of Jain Principle, that's a book that we are following right now. It's called Jain Siddhant Praveshika in Hindi. So as I said, they're in the question answer form, and question 1 to 36, they are on the subject of substance. And as we said that since July 2014 to October 2016, almost for 2 years, we talked about substance alone. And actually, if we go through it, then there is only 2 questions, 1 and 2 questions are there only, and then there is some expansion of the substances there. But of course, we covered all those 6 substances in great detail in this last 2 years' time. And now that we are going to talk attribute modes, and we'll just progress further. So question number 2 on that Jain Siddhant Praveshika is, what is attribute? The definition of attribute, gun etle sum. What is the attribute? When we talked about attribute, it says the one which stays in all the part of a substance and in all the conditions of substance is known as attribute. Remember, substance is dravya and attribute is gun. So the gun which remains in the dravya in all the parts of the dravya, and then in all the condition of the dravya also, that is called gun. So this is the definition given in the Jain Siddhant Praveshika and Jain Siddhant Prashnottar Mala, and Gurudev Sri also uses this the definition time to time. Of course, there are a lot more definitions are there, but this is the commonest definitions that is propagated. But there are a lot more things are there also. As we progress, we'll find it out. Now, definition of attribute. What is attribute? So one, I'll just have to minimize this thing so it doesn't bother. So one which stays in all part of the substance and in the all condition of substance is known as attribute. Remember, when we talked about 6 universal substances, we said that Jeev, Pudgal, Dharmastika, Akashka, living, matter, medium of motion, medium of rest, space and time, all the 6 substances are eternal in nature. They were never created, will never be destroyed. They are there. Nobody has created them. So substances are there. But what is this substance made up of? This substance is made up of lots of attributes, infinite attributes within. And so those attributes, they remain in the substance and in all condition of the substance. And we'll define that one as we progress further. Okay. So this definition is given Jain Siddhant Prashnottar Mala, part 1, question number 66. Jain Siddhant Prashnottar Mala is also a Gujarati book published from Songarh, and there are 2 parts. Actually, it's one book divided into 2 parts, and it is also question answer sessions are there. And question number 66 gives this kind of definition. Then another definition of attribute. In a substance, to imagine divisions from potentiality perspective is called attribute. This, see, there we are going to go through a definition from different angles. Different scriptures are giving different angles, so that way we understand exactly what that thing is. So, second definition, in a substance, to imagine divisions from potentiality perspective, that's called attribute. Means koi dravyama shakti apekshaye sapyak apekshaye એને ભેદ કલ્પના કરવી તેને ગુણ કહે છે. Means there is a potentiality of a substance. Potentiality substance means there is a infinite potentiality is there, and they are having indivisibility with the soul substance. But what are those potentiality? So I keep on imagining the different potentiality, like substance has a knowledge, substance has a faith, substance has a conduct, substance has eternal existence, substance has substancehood. All those potentiality, when we start imagining them, that is called attribute. And this definition is given in the 3rd chapter, slok number 7. So this is the definition from the another perspective. Then 3rd perspective we are taking, attribute is a one which is present simultaneously with a substance. When substance is there, attribute is there. Whatever is there with the substance simultaneously, which is also present eternally, because substance is present eternally. So it is present eternally and simultaneously with the substance, and is having indivisibility with the substance. That is called attribute. Indivisibility with means what? For example, heat and fire. Fire and heat, they are indivisible with each other. Water and coolness, there is indivisibility with each other. Sugar and sweetness, they both have indivisibility. Similarly, the attribute and substance, they are indivisible. If there is attribute, means there is substance. If there is substance, means there is attribute. How long they are there? They are eternally there, and they are present simultaneously. And so this is also called attributes definition. And this one is it is given in Sri Paramatma Prakash chapter scripture, stanza number 57. This definition is given. So we are looking from different scriptures that how they are presenting these definitions. So ultimately, it just makes us understand pretty good about the nature of this attribute. Okay, now there's another angle we are taking. Even with changing of the modes in a substance, what we say, a given substance means a given substance having lots of infinite attribute within, and each attribute has a mode occurring every samay. Every moment there is a transformation occurring. So with the changing of the modes in a substance, substance has a infinite, substance has a modes. Dravya has a paryay. So that paryay comes from where? So with changing of the modes in a substance, the one which never dissociates from the substance also remains eternally, and also has indivisibility with the substance, is known as attribute. So now the author is trying to take us in detail somewhat to explain to us what that attribute really means. Remember, this topic of attribute we are talking is a general topic right now. In general, we are talking about what is an attribute. Once that part we will understand, then we'll be going detail that there are specific attributes are there and common attributes are there, and function of each one is what, and that we'll be talking in a greater detail as the time passes. Here, this class that we have is a general knowledge about the attribute. So we just get familiar, we get ourselves understand about the nature of the attribute. So what it says over here, that the substance has something within which keeps on transforming all the time, but that transformation occurs from that something which is quote unquote attribute. So that attribute never dissociates from the substance. It's always clinging to the substance. And also it remains eternally, and not only eternally, but it also has indivisibility with the substance. So that means over here it says attribute is the one which has modification occurring time to time, all the time, every samay, from since time infinite in the past till the time infinite in the future, forever. So that attribute will have transformation occurring forever, but that attribute never dissociates from the substance. It remains eternally with the substance, and also remains indivisibility with the substance. So now it gives little deeper meaning for the attribute for us in this section. This is the thing, Mokshastra, chapter 5, Sutra 38. Mokshastra is a kind of a detailed explanation of Tattvat Sutra. Tattvat Sutra is the one which is written by Umaswati ji close to about 2000 years back, and every Jain, whether it's Digambar, Shwetambar, Sthanakvasi, Terapanthi, Vispanthi, whatever, they all accept Tattvat Sutra. So, for example, if somebody asks you, stops you on the street and says, tell me what's the scripture? I'm Hindu and mine is Gita. He is Christian, he's his Bible. This guy is Muslim, he's his Quran. What is yours? Well, there is not a single scripture that we can pinpoint in Jainism. But if really one want to pinpoint it out, then we can say Tattvat Sutra, written by Umaswati ji close to 2000 years back. And so this Moksha Shastra is a Tika, means a detailed explanation of Tattvat Sutra. Chapter 5, Sutra 38 gives this definition of a mode, of an attribute. Okay, having said that, now we are going one more thing. Now we are throwing some more words. Remember, some typical words are coming and we have to get used to those words, because as we progress, or whenever we read a literature, whenever we read the scripture, these kind of words will come. And when they come, we don't want to get confused. We have to know it. So now author is throwing one more word, is called Anvay. Anvay is a eternal substance. Anvay is an eternal substance, and its distinctiveness is called attribute. Anvay એ દ્રવ્ય છે અને એનું વિશેષણ એ ગુણ છે. અન્વય દ્રવ્ય છે તો તેનું વિશેષણ ગુણ છે. So there is a definition of anvay given over here. Anvay word will come. Actually, I went through dictionary today and there are so many different meanings of the word anvay is there that it is really amazing that one word alone, how many meanings can come out of it. But over here, specifically, anvay means the parental things, we can just say, and the attribute is belonging to substance. So anvay is an eternal substance and its distinctiveness is attribute. What is distinctiveness means? What? Distinctiveness means the soul substance is in generality. In general, we are talking as a soul substance. But to understand that soul substance, we have to enter the soul substance and we have to go to its attribute, and then we understand what is that general soul substance is. For example, if we say that the soul is an all-knower soul substance, how did I say it's all-knower soul substance? Because the soul has attribute called knowledge. Because knowledge attribute is there, so the soul is called all-knower. So soul is given that distinctiveness because of its attribute. So name all-knower soul substance. All-knower word came because of distinctiveness of the knowledge attribute. Soul is blissful. What is that blissful means? Blissful means there's a bliss attribute in the soul, and this soul substance is the owner of this bliss, and so it's called blissfulness of the soul. So anvay is an eternal substance and its distinctiveness is an attribute. So there's a different way of knowing attribute. This is the Pravachan Sahas stanza 80, Sanskrit Tika. It just says this kind of words are come out there. So this way we have seen several different definition of substance from the, we have seen different definition of attribute from different scriptures and what they mean by that. So having said that, now we'll go in somewhat detail what it says here. Let me just take this thing here. One which stays in all part of a substance and in all conditions of the substance is known as attribute. This definition, this general definition established, this is accepted by everybody, is common definition. One which stays in all part of the substance and in all conditions of the substance is known as attribute. Now, what does that mean? It means, what does all part means? Here we say one which stays in all part of the substance. what does all part mean? All part means attribute remains in all parts of the substance. Whatever the area of the substance, the same is for the attribute. For example, the soul in an elephant's body has a shape of the elephant. The same soul in an ant has a body, form, shape of an ant. So the soul has a capacity of contraction and expansion capacity. So soul can expand in an elephant, for example, and can contract in a ant or even in a bacteria. So attribute remains in every part of the soul substance. Whatever that substance is there, attribute will remain present. For example, if we take a sugar cube, that whole cube has presence of sweetness as an attribute. Every corner, every minutest part of that sugar cube will have a sweetness present. From my head to toe, my soul substance is spreaded through the head to toe. So any part of the body, let's say I pinch my toe or pinch my head, I will get, my soul will feel the sensation, because all the attributes are also present along with the soul in every part, every minutest part. So all part means every corner of the soul, or every corner of a substance, that attribute is present. In case of matter, for example, in case of a gold, the yellowness of the gold is present in every part of the gold. There is nothing that one part of the gold has no yellowness, maybe it's a blueness or grayness or anything. No. Every part, every minutest part of the gold will have yellowness. Every part of the sugar cube will have a sweetness. Every part of the salt will have a salty taste. Same way, every part of the soul will have a knowledge attribute present. Then, what does all condition mean? All part of a substance and all condition of a substance. What's the all condition mean? All condition means,
Right.
yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, as yellowness in the gold,
yeah,
knowledge in the soul.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain how about Ragdvesh? When actually Ragdvesh happens, is it throughout the soul, just like?
Yes. For example, let's say anger. Let's presume that I'm becoming angry right now. My whole body will show anger. How? Number one, my eyes will become red. My voice will be raised. My tongue will be shivering, and my heartbeats will be going up. My breathing is going faster. I start perspiring. My whole body becomes cold and everything. So that means, if the quote unquote rag is not an attribute. Of course, rag is a perverted form of a conduct attribute. Rag means inclination of attachment and aversion. Rag and dvesh, they are the perverted form of a conduct attribute. So whole body will be having showing that yes, this guy is angry right now, So those are the things can happen with the anger. But when we talk about pure attribute, knowledge, let's take knowledge.
But the rag dvesh actually happens in the soul.
In the soul, but
so what happens to the soul? Let's say there is I'm angry right now.
Yeah.
So it's not happening in my body. Rag dvesh mara atma ma thase. So how does it spread in the whole soul completely, just the way yellowness in the gold?
Yes. See what it is. Basically, when we talk rag, dvesh, basically that's a paryay. That's a modification. What we are talking right now is attribute. And attribute are inert. Attribute never change. Attribute are eternal and indivisible and stationary. They don't change. Whatever knowledge attribute is there is there. So for example, let's say that if I take the soul into the lab and I start cutting the soul, theoretical possibility, and I make that soul into several pieces. Each piece of that soul will have a presence of your knowledge present in that piece. So every space point of the soul has an innumerable space point. Atmana asankhyat pradesh hoche. Every pradesh, every space point will have knowledge attribute present.
So what about Krodh as a paryay? Darek Pradesh ma ase?
Yeah, it will just go to every Pradesh also. Yes, it will be there in every Pradesh. Because see what it is? Because soul is invisible. Soul cannot be seen with any form of physical senses. So the anger present also, I will not be able to see in the form of that being present in the soul. But from nimit naimitic sambandh, from principal cause auxiliary cause relationship, when the anger is present in all parts of the soul, and that soul from head to toe is present within me, so then the bodily reaction will be seen along with the anger present in the soul substance. So that way we are just talking about the external manifestation of that anger associated finding that is seen in the physical body. So basically we won't be able to see the soul because to experience a soul we have to experience with the supersensuous bliss only. We cannot experience with the five senses and mind. So whenever any kind of a description is given in this literature, like for example, don't do this, don't do that, and everything, when scripture says that, because I cannot understand the nature of the soul. So for me to understand nature of the soul, then Acharya Bhagavan says, okay, I have to talk your language. Remember 8th stanza we had talked about? 8th stanza in the Samhisar was talking that Bhasha anarya vinana samajavi sakaya anarya ne vyavahara vana paramarthano upadesayam asakyashe. Means I am kind of a barbarian guy. In the sense, I have never experienced my soul substance. So I'm kind of barbarian. So Acharya Bhagavan explains to me in my language and says to me, listen, do you become angry? Oh yes. Then anger is not your nature. Do you become egoistic? Yes. Then ego is not your nature. Ego is not the nature of the soul. This way Acharya Bhagavan explains to me by giving nimit namitik sambandh and showing me outside things to take me within the soul, because I have not experienced the soul yet, and because I have not experienced, so I don't believe. But Acharya Bhagavan, I believe him, because Acharya Bhagavan is a direct lineage of Omniscient Lord. And Acharya Bhagavan is no reason to show me something wrong. Omniscient Lord is no reason to misguide me. So these are the facts laid out by their own experience that they are telling us. And so when they are telling us, if I believe them, then I accept it. If I don't believe it, I don't accept it. For example, there is a picture on the wall with my father. If my grandchild comes and says, Grandpa, who is this picture? Or what is the picture of? Well, that is my daddy. My grandchild has not seen my father, but she has a faith in me that I'm not going to mislead her, and that's why she will say, okay, I am not saying your father, but because you are telling me, so I believe you. So similarly, Acharya Bhagwan also tells me the fact because he has experience, and so I listen to him and I follow that way. So in general, basically answer to your question, that every part of the soul will have attribute present. In any condition also, like the fourth bullet says, attribute never desert substance in any situation. Substance is eternal, so are the attributes eternal. So if suppose this soul is going in a nigod, in the lowest form of life, all the attributes also will persist there. If this soul goes to heaven, then attributes will also stay with the soul. And this soul gets liberated, attribute will persist there. So every condition, good or bad or pure, every condition, attributes are associated with the soul all the time, every condition. So this is we are making dissection of the fact of all the condition of the substance and every part of the substance, that is the attribute. Remember, if we take a bag of rice, the bag is 1 kilo, 5 kilo, 10 kilo, whatever, and rice particles are there. Now, each rice particle occupies certain area only. Each rice particle alone, each rice particle does not spread to the whole bag. Each rice particle is one. Attributes are not like that. Attributes are not like a bag full of rice, that each rice is individual. Attributes are individual, but they're spread through the whole area of the substance. So if I take knowledge attribute out, the whole substance will come out. If I take perception attribute out, whole substance will come out, because every area, every space point of this soul has those attributes present. So that's what it says, all the part of the substance and all condition of the substance, the attribute is present. Does it answer your question, Susmita?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Because I was at one time I was sitting in one class, and it was getting frustration on my part because the lecturer he took one bowl, and he had a few things in the bowl, some the cloth and everything, and he throws one out, and he throws second one out, and he throws third one out. He said, these are the attributes in a soul, in a substance. And I said, no way, you cannot throw the attribute out of the substance. It's not like rice, the rice or a bean bag or rice bag that you take one out and throw it out, because the attributes are intermingled with the soul substance. If the soul substance is there, when I say soul substance, means any substance. Substance is there, attributes are there. Substance is not there, attributes are not there. So they are intermingled. They are part of the soul substance. They are not individual thing that you can take it and throw it out, Anyway, it's okay. So we go to the next slide now. So is substance first or attribute first? What should be the answer? Is a given substance occurs first and attributes, or the attributes occurs first? Chicken and egg situation as what is first? Because both are having eternal existence, so both are there forever. Nobody came first and nobody came second. How are the attributes staying in a substance? Attributes are staying in a substance. How? As sweetness in the sugar, heat in the fire, coolness in the water, yellowness in the gold, the same way attributes are present in a given substance. They cannot be separated from each other. Means substance cannot be separated from attribute, attribute cannot be separated from substance. If I give you a syringe and I said, okay, take this syringe and take the sweetness out from the sugar, can you do that? Then you will just say, wait a second, no, it's not possible because sweetness is sugar and sugar is sweetness. No, I cannot take sweetness out from the sugar. So they are staying in this substance in which a substance and the attributes are inherent relationship. How many space points an attribute stays in a given substance? Let's say soul has an innumerable space point, or this is a matter particle, and this matter particle has an infinite space point. So how many space points will an attribute occupy in a given substance? Well, answer is it stays in all the space point of the substance. If the substance has innumerable space point, then attributes are present in innumerable space point. If the substance has infinite space point, attribute will stay in the infinite space point, and those are the things, you know. Or if the substance has only one space point, an attribute will have one space point. Who has a one space point? Which substance has a one space point? Time, Kal. Remember, we had gone through that one. Kal has a one space point. Soul has an innumerable space point. Matter can possibly be one space point, or innumerable space point, or infinite space point. And Dharmastika, they have the innumerable space point, and space, Akash, has an infinite space point. So if Akash is the substance we are talking, then its attributes are present through the infinite space points. I'm the soul having innumerable space point, then my attributes are spread through the innumerable space point. Okay, next. Now, the other way around. How many space point an attribute can stay? Now, other way around. How many attributes stay in one space point? How many attributes can stay in one space point? Remember, soul has an infinite attributes. And that infinite attributes are spread through the whole, all the space point of the soul. So at every space point has attribute present. So question is here, how many attributes stay in one space point? Because they're infinite attributes, so infinite attributes reside in one space point of a substance. You know, it becomes kind of very difficult to digest this kind of a sentence. And for that thing, we just take a simple example that this room has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights are there. And one room is there, 15 by 15, for example. So 15 by 15 room, one bulb will occupy all the space point of the room. 5 bulbs are occupying all the space points of the room. If the million bulbs are there, million bulb will also occupy the same space point of this room. So to have this one space point giving residence of any attribute has no problem. Each and every attribute, each and every space point. Remember, space point means if I take a cube, make 2 pieces, and further 2 pieces, further 2 pieces, further 2 pieces, and at the last point in which I cannot make into 2 pieces, that's called one space point. And that space point is a capacity to accommodate any number of attributes, in fact, infinite attributes. So each space point can occupy infinite attributes. Next one, what's the nature of an attribute? What's the nature of the attribute? Well, let's talk about it. Attribute takes refuge in a given substance because attribute cannot be there alone. Attribute is dependent on a substance. It cannot exist independently. So attribute has to take refuge in a given substance. If it is dharmastika, that attribute will stay in the dharmastika. If it is a soul, it will remain in soul. So that way, all 6 substances, their attribute remain within the substance. Now, one attribute does not depend on second attribute. Remember, the given attribute in the red bullet has to take refuge in a substance, so the attribute is dependent on a substance. But one attribute does not have to depend on another attribute. Knowledge attribute does not depend on a conduct attribute. Conduct attribute does not depend on faith attribute. They maintain their individuality, but they will take the refuge in the substance. Now, attributes naturally, substance is eternal, so attributes are eternal in nature also. Each attribute is eternal from certain perspective and is having nature of getting transformed from other perspectives. Jain philosophy always brings perspective all the time in every situation. And that's a peculiarity of the Jain philosophy, that it just gives the perspective, means nai. Nai means from a certain point of view. That perspective means, for example, who am I? Am I a father? Or am I a son? Or am I a husband? Or am I the brother? Well, depends on what perspective am I talking. My son Rishi's perspective, I'm the father. From my wife's perspective, I'm the husband. From my parents' perspective, I'm the son. From my brother's perspective, I'm the brother. So perspective is the one that is the peculiarity of Jain philosophy. And besides Jain philosophy, no other philosophy uses this perspective situation. So that's why it is really, really an important philosophy, because it just covers all the angle of everything. So each attribute is eternal from certain perspective and having nature of getting transformed from other perspective. What does that mean? It means each attribute is eternal. Eternal means it was never created, will never be destroyed. It's always there, always there, always there in an inert form. Knowledge attribute is there forever. Sweetness attribute is there in the matter forever. So these are attributes present forever, but each attribute also keeps on transforming time to time, time to time. Every summer it keeps on transforming. So when we talk that transforming perspective, that means the attribute is transient in nature. Means it has capacity to transform. But I'm talking from the eternal perspective, then attributes are stable and never changing in nature. So if you just remember Utpad Vyay Drav Yuktam Sat, that kind of a sentence, so far it has come, probably it will come again when we come to the model perspective description. But Utpad Vyay Drav Yuktam Sat means origination, cessation, and constancy is a nature of a substance. What is the origination, cessation? And what is constancy? Origination and cessation is the nature of a mode, nature of the paryay. Paryay keeps on originating, paryay keeps on destruction, another originates, another destroys. I'm sitting on the beach and the waves keeps on coming and coming and coming. time after time after time after time, the waves keeps on coming and breaking and then go back. Another wave come and breaking and go back. So that's called a mode. That's called transformation. And if we take ocean, for example, it's a constant. Remember, this is just example we are giving. Examples are just given for sake of understanding the point. Sometimes what happens, we stick to the example and we start dissecting the example. That's not true. Example may be true from certain perspective, and its intention is to give the insight into the principle that we are trying to ask. So similarly, the waves keeps on coming and breaking, coming and breaking, coming. That's called transformation. That's called paryaya. And ocean remains same, constant. That's called constancy. Same way in the soul substance, attribute are constant. But from the attribute, a mode will arise, and it will arise and go down, arise and go back, go down, arise and go back, arise and go back. Knowledge is an attribute. In the knowledge attribute, right now, I'm thinking, I'm looking at the wall. So my mode of knowledge is doing the function of looking at the wall. Now, next moment, my knowledge is doing the function of looking at the screen over here. So the transformation occurred from wall to the screen. That's a but knowledge remained constant. Knowledge attribute is constant. It is change of the pattern occurred. So changing pattern is there. So from certain perspective, attributes can be called constant, and from other perspective, they can be called transforming also. Because we are talking about nature of the attribute, and we have to understand how those attributes function. Each attribute is getting transformed, and therefore has origination, cessation. But when it remains still, but still it remains eternal, means it remains constant. It remains permanence. So permanency with change. So attribute, we can see from one perspective that they are permanent in nature. And when we are talking from modal perspective, then they also have origination and cessation in the form of modes. So this is the nature of the attribute that we know about it. Let's see next one. Now, there are different names of attributes given. We'll go through the names right now and see what they are. They are called Shakti, means power. Attribute is called Shakti, power. It's also called Lakshan, means characteristics. It's called Vishesh, means specificity, and we'll come to those definitions later on. It's called Dharma, potentiality. It's called Dhruv, eternal. It's called Earth, means Gun. It's called Anvayi, we'll define that part. It's called Nitya, means eternal. And it's called Sahabhu, means associated with the soul. So these are different names of the attributes given. So when we are reading the scripture, any name can be replaced for this attribute, and we have to be aware of this kind of names, that they do come. And I don't have to get confused at the time that, wait a second, they are talking about something and I don't understand, but they are saying, talking about Shakti, they talk Nitya, they talk Anvayi. What are all those things? So we'll just go through this about definitions of those things, and I don't have to remember everything. But when I'm reading the scripture, and when those names come, then I said, back of my mind, say, oh yes, I know this one. This is attribute. So, that way I have to have some familiarity with these names, and that will help it out. Remember, sometimes the names are given which may have different meanings also. One word has a different meaning, so we have to understand all the meaning of those words. For example, word darshan, if we take, darshan has many meanings, but for one meaning alone, for example, if we take, when we talk samyak darshan means when my faith, which was directed to outside alien object, now my faith is directed to me, to the soul. That's called samyak darshan. Means it's called darshan. So lots of time the scripture will not use the word samyak darshan, it will just say darshan. Darshan apeksha, from darshan perspective. So what is that darshan means? Means is experiencing of my soul, of faith towards my soul. That's a one meaning. Darshan is another meaning when there is general perception of a thing. For example, early morning I'm going out for jog. The dusk is there. It's just day is breaking and dusk is still present, and I'm not able to see everything. And distant, I think something moved. I just saw something moving. Perception occurred. When I started thinking a lot more, I put my attentive consciousness more to that situation. Then I realized that there was something was moving with the four legs in certain height of 2 feet or whatever. And then I had a knowledge occurred that that is a dog. So original sensation that I felt something is moving, that's called perception. That's called darshan also. Gnan and darshan. Gnan and darshan. So when we talk darshan along with the gnan, that meaning is perception. When I use darshan for the samyak darshan or mithya darshan, then that darshan means faith. Third darshan means it's a Jain philosophy or Buddhist philosophy or Vedic philosophy. Philosophy means darshan. So sometimes one word with different meanings, and over here different words with the same meaning. It says attribute, it's called Shakti, Sahagu, Nitya, Anvai, Arth, Dhruv, Dharma, Vishesh, Laksha, whatever those things, that means attribute. Now, we have to define few words, so we will try to do that. Time-wise, how we are almost there. So probably we will take it next time. If there is any question, we can take that 2-3 minutes are remaining. Any questions so far? Remember, what we are doing right now is very general perspective, and once we are done with this general perspective, we'll be going to these specific attributes and common attributes, and it will be kind of lots of fun will be there, because it just simple knowing with one attribute alone. You don't need to know the whole Jain philosophy. You know one attribute, eternal existence attribute, for example, astitva gun. If we just know that one alone and digest it properly, scripture says you can get samyak darshan from there. So it's very important. Each and every small tiny point comes, but when I really understand it better, then it becomes my building block becomes that much strong. Any questions so far? Go ahead.
Actually, Karatanka, I wanted to ask you about your trip to India. What did you learn there?
Oh my God! I had so much good things happen when the 6 days of Shibir was there. Yeah. We did a Karta Karma Adhikar, and variety of speakers were there, and their experience is so deep that I felt like a midget in front of those gigantic personalities, and they will analyze so greatly. 5:30 in the morning will be Pandit Arunji will take the class, and I think probably you may have heard him in Mona lecture series or whatever. He is the guy, he is the person, he's a Sanskrit professor in Jaipur, and I'm very fortunate that he agreed to teach me Sanskrit. So he's teaching me through the video conference once a week or once every other week or whatever. And so he's expert on Sanskrit. So he was taking 69 and 70 stanza. He was given 10 or 15 stanza, but he finished only 2, not finished. He has to rush to finish those 2 stanza in a 6 hours class, you know. And each and every Sanskrit word he dissected and brought the greatest meaning of it, that what Amrit Chandracharya wrote down. In Samaisar, what they say, that the Samaisar was written by Kunkun Swami 2000 years back in Ardhamagdi language, Prakrit language, but Amrit Chandracharya 1000 years back, he wrote about a commentary in Sanskrit. And this Sanskrit, they say, is one of the best Sanskrit ever written in the history of mankind.
Oh.
No exaggeration. Not only Jains, but non-Jains, they appreciate that what Amrit Chandracharya wrote down. I'll just give you one example. In 49 stanza of Samaisar, it's very important stanza. When we come sometimes in that stanza in the future, we'll just talk, and it will be lots of things to talk. He writes this Sanskrit commentary, and his full stop comes at the 6th page.
Oh.
One complete sentence for 6 pages. You can imagine his capacity.
Wow.
And this is what that's what the Samaisar Tika is there, Samaisar commentary is there. So that's why, you know, and when we do this base building right now, you will be able to appreciate those things so much that, my God, 1000 years back there are no computers, no nothing. And we are so fortunate that we have those things available to us. Those are the things that are there, you know. So it's there are other Panditji was there, Sachin Panditji. He took 143, 144 stanza, the cream of Samaisar. And he went for 6 days of classes, 6 hours of classes. And gradually he built it up so beautifully that is amazing, that how much depth of knowledge he has it. I'll send you the link for the YouTube link, Ustream link. Of course, it's Hindi. Everything is Hindi. So if you want to listen to some of those things, please listen. You'll have an amazing feeling that how much more we have to learn. And in this life, we are going to learn, and we are going to digest, and ultimately aim is we are going to experience the soul.
Wow.
I had a nice time. Had a great time, you know. And there was another Shibir also was there in Devlali, but I was not able to go there. Radhibai Gosalia conducted that Shibir, so I was here in the Manglayatan, and we had a nice time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll meet next week in the same time, same place. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Javani ke gyan se suje lokalo, sovani mastak namo sada deta hu. 9 times Namo ka mantra. Jai Jinendra. Michay Dukram, thank you.
Do send that link.
Yeah, I'll send it. Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.